Hi, my name is Orit and welcome to the Wired for Love training. First of all, I want to wish you a huge congratulations on being here. You are going to learn more here and understand what's going on for you faster and deeper and clearer than you ever could in years of therapy. So in this whole video training, I'm going to be going over the 3 secrets. The first secret is what you need to stop doing now in your relationship so you can heal from your trauma and stop sabotaging the amazing connection you've got going on with each other. Secret number 2 is the steps that you need to take in order to feel more connected to your partner than you have in any relationship. And secret 3 is the biggest mistake that people make when overcoming their trauma and how you can avoid it so you can finally move on from the past and feel that unconditional love that you totally deserve. So again, my name is Orit and I'm a board certified dance movement therapist. I have been running literally thousands of groups and individual therapy of dance therapy for the last 9 years. And in my most recent and intense work, other than the work that I've been doing online with women who are still bringing their trauma into their relationships, is I was the director of all of the creative therapies in a psychiatric hospital where I supervised, I oversaw, and I also ran the therapy groups for all the patients in the hospital. And so a lot of my experience is working with people who have struggled so much with their trauma to the point where they have either attempted suicide or have at least thought a lot about ending their lives in some way or another. I also have my own personal journey and transformation with my own trauma and sabotaging relationships. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm here and why I'm so passionate about this work, because I've been through it myself and I want to and I love helping other women through it as well. So let's jump straight into this training and start with secret number 1. So today I'm going to share with you the first secret. It's what you need to stop doing now in your relationship so you can stop sabotaging the amazing connection you've actually got going on with your partner. So here's the secret. You have to stop talking about the past. Because no matter how much you talk about the past, no matter how much you try to talk yourself into feeling or behaving a different way, your body is still hardwired to react. And when we've experienced trauma, your body is going to be in a heightened and intensified state of reacting in your fight, flight, freeze, and shutdown response, to the point where no matter what you try to choose with your conscious mind, your body always wins. So let's go over what each of these nervous system responses look like. The fight response is like when you come home after a long day of work and the milk carton is out on the counter again, and you explode into a rage and you start yelling and cursing at your partner for not caring, not giving a crap about your house and you, and so on and so forth. The flight response is like at the first sign of conflict, you rush out of your house, you get in your car and you drive away until you feel calm enough to come back. The freeze response is wanting to speak up, maybe even to the point of practicing what you were going to say. And when it comes down to the moment, the words just don't come out of your mouth and you are frozen. And the shutdown response, which is the most primitive, ancient response, is having such an intense fight that you wake up the next morning and you can hardly remember what has even happened because you actually black out in that state. So in step 1 of your workbook, you'll see exercise 1, and that's where you'll be able to start identifying your dominant nervous system response and answer questions about how exactly it plays out in your relationship. And for now, I'd love to give you a couple of examples from my clients. So one of my clients, we'll call her Melissa just to protect her identity. She was, when we started working together, she was engaged to be married a few months later, and her fiance started coming home really late, and he wouldn't text her or call her anything. And she would practice what to say with him. She really wanted to tell him, yeah, that's not okay. And when it came down to the moment, she would just freeze up, and it would escalate because he'd be like, hello, why don't you say something? And that would put her into even more of a stress response and freeze up even more. So her dominant nervous system response was freeze. I have another client, let's name her Jill. She would also freeze up with her husband and hold in her anger. However, when it came to her kids, she would impulsively react and yell at them. And this kind of shows us that because the freeze response is a more primitive and severe response than the fight response, because she didn't feel safe fighting with her husband, she actually let that outlet out with her kids and yelled at her kids instead. And I know that sounds horrible, and we might want to jump to, some judgment about that, but honestly, it's not her fault. And if you resonate with any of these nervous system responses, it's not your fault either. You might feel like you're broken or you're damaged goods, or maybe it's a lack of character, but it's not. This is simply how your body and your nervous system are wired. And you might even be watching yourself in the moment being like, why can't I do this? Why can't I stop? Why do I keep doing this over and over again? And it feels like you can't change, but in fact, you can. And you just have to rewire your nervous system. So this is why couples counseling doesn't work, because first of all, couples counseling often, sadly, tears apart a lot of marriages because couples think that this is the last resort. We're just gonna go to couples therapy, and if this doesn't work, then we know we tried everything. When in reality, picking apart every traumatic event and memory does not remove trauma from your body. And a client of mine even recently said that all the years she spent in therapy just traumatized her even more. Talk therapy, to be specific. Now, what's going on in your nervous system is that it's staying stuck in the event or the events of the past, and it repeats the trauma in the moment because its number one mission is to keep you safe and protect you from ever having to feel that pain and hurt that you did in the past. This is why we disconnect from our bodies, why we mindlessly scroll on our phones, why we overeat, why we work so much to the point of not having time for anything else, because it's anything to avoid the trauma and anything to distract ourselves from feeling our bodies where our trauma is stored, which ironically is exactly what needs to happen in order to release it. So it is not your fault. I really want to emphasize this so strongly in this training, because your body, your nervous system, and your nonverbal subconscious are simply operating the way that it's wired. So let's go over what the nonverbal subconscious is, because this is a really important piece. When we experience trauma, the part of our brain that is verbal, that understands and absorbs language, shuts off. It goes offline. And so the trauma memories, the feelings and the memories that are associated with your trauma get stored in your nonverbal subconscious, where it doesn't know words. It never knew words. And the reactions in your body just happen, kind of like breathing and digesting. These things just happen in your body without thinking about it. And it's the same in your relationship. These reactions, they just happen. And again, this is why talk therapy doesn't work, because we need to access a different part of our brain. Now, I made a diagram, so it's a little bit easier to see. So let's check it out. So when we are in talk therapy, we are accessing this part of our brain. This is the part, again, that absorbs and processes verbal language. This is also the part of the brain that goes offline when we experience trauma. So when you try to engage this part of your brain, you're only accessing a very, very small fragment of what has actually happened to you in the past. This is the part of your brain that is your fear center, that controls and activates your fight and flight response. This is the part of your brain that stores most of your trauma in fragments of sensations, of touch and smell, and all the senses. And so when we try to talk about it, we're not getting to this part of the brain. When we talk about it, we're also not getting to this part of the brain which distinguishes the past from the present, making it feel like our trauma is happening to us over and over and over again. And when we talk about it, we aren't doing anything about that, about feeling the intensity of the trauma in today. So how do we change it? We need to access the nonverbal subconscious directly. And the way that we access the nonverbal subconscious directly so that we can change your primal response is through your body. And the language of the body is movement. In the next video, I'm going to show you exactly how we use movement to rewire your nervous system and heal the trauma at the level at which it occurred, which is in your body, right? And if you're ready to resolve this now, I want to invite you to book a free and obligation-free relationship review with me or my team. We'll help you get clear on exactly which of these factors are playing out for you in your relationship and what you need to do to release the trauma from your body and enjoy a deep, loving connection. So this is also a really good opportunity to answer any questions that you have that come up as you work through exercise 1 in the workbook. So you can choose a time below that suits you, and we can't wait to connect. See you there or see you in the next training. Bye.